Have you ever wondered if you could just make a one-time payment to a whole life insurance policy? Let's pretend you love the benefits that you see that come with the cash value, that it is a safe, liquid, tax-free area to position money. You understand the product, you know how it works, you'd like to be able to use the cash value for your business, real estate, maybe it's retirement, whatever it is, you have an understanding of how the product works and you're interested in it. But the one thing holding you back is the idea that it's a whole life insurance policy and you feel as if you have to make payments for your entire life, your whole life. So the question is, can you just write a check, a one-time payment, send it into the insurance company, max fund your whole life insurance policy, and be done with it? So it's true that you can fund a policy with a lump sum, and we're going to look at a specific case study today based on someone who's interested in funding a whole life insurance policy with a total of $1 million. But what we're going to look at specifically is what is the most efficient way to get that money into a policy. So the case study we're going to look at is based on an individual in his mid-60s. He's a real estate investor. He wants to fund a policy with a lump sum, and the amount he is interested in presently working with is $1 million. So he's interested in a whole life insurance policy primarily for the cash value. The cash value being a safe, liquid, and tax-free area to position funds. The death benefit, however, that does have some value as it is paid out income tax-free to his beneficiaries. But here's something that he stated, and frankly, most people we work with state this up front. I'd say about 9 out of 10 people say, I don't really care about the death benefit, or not right now at least. Down the road, it often does have value, but people often state up front, I'm interested in the cash value. That's why I'm interested in this life insurance product. So if that describes you, the thing to be aware of with respect to the death benefit is that it has a direct relationship to this MEC, this MEC limit. MEC stands for Modified Endowment Contract. If a life insurance policy becomes classified as a modified endowment contract, because it can happen to any cash value life insurance product, if this happens, the gains on your cash value, specifically when you access them, are going to be taxable as ordinary income, and there could be a potential 10% penalty tax as well. We've got more information on the modified endowment contract in the above video. But my point is, we want to prevent that. So the importance here with the death benefit is that the death benefit determines the MEC limit. So we still want to minimize the death benefit and minimize costs in order to maximize this, but we do have to have life insurance here, and you'll see that this MEC limit, if I want to pay more money in, like a large lump sum, I need a very, very high death benefit to accommodate that. We'll look more at specific examples soon. So what we're going to analyze today is this. $1 million going into a policy, but we've got these different options. Option A, I write a check for $1 million, send it in, never make another payment. How does that policy perform? Option B, 2 payments of $500,000, so we're splitting it up. Option C, 4 payments of $250,000, and then option D, 5 payments of $200,000. Now, the goal here is to maximize cash value, and here's something that's very important to look at when we're looking at any whole life insurance policy, but especially when we are considering funding a policy for a short period of time, which frankly, a lot of people are interested in this because A, I don't have to make payments for a long time, but B, you'll find if I'm going to fund a policy for a short period of time, that is a fantastic way to maximize the internal rate of return, meaning the growth rate will be higher on a policy that I fund for 5 or 10 years compared to a policy that I fund for a very long period of time, just when you look at how a life insurance policy works and such. But with that said, the assumptions here, looking at the dividend values, are important, which are considered the non-guaranteed values, but then this piece is very, very important, the guaranteed values. This is a great way to stress test the policy. Stress test means making sure that the policy continues to perform at a level we want it to perform. Specifically, my cash value keeps going up, even in a worst case scenario environment. So we are going to look at that as well. That's very important, which is important anytime, but my goal is to maximize cash value, and I'm funding a policy with a lump sum. I do want to see that. I want to see it as the agent to make sure that the client is taking the proper steps to set that policy up correctly. So a breakdown here before we get into the numbers. Breakdown of the policy and your money. In blue, we've got your money, specifically you depositing funds. So we're depositing, in this example, $1 million. That $1 million can go toward either the insurance premium or our PUA rider. The name of the game to maximize cash value, reduce the premium as low as we possibly can based on the limits made available by the IRS that has to do with the MEC limit, and then also the insurance company we're working with. And then maximize the PUA rider. Then we've got the insurance company. So the total dividend interest rate that we have with the product we're looking at. So we're looking at a Guardian L95 policy, and their 2023 dividend interest rate is 5.75%. The guaranteed floor is 3%. Now, if you're new to cash value life insurance, here's a very, very important item to be aware of, is that anytime we see an interest rate associated with a whole life insurance policy with a particular life insurance company, is that is a gross rate applied to the product after the cost of insurance. Why I say that is because it's very common for individuals we work with to say, hey, I'm in my mid-60s now. If I just plop in $1 million into this policy and it's earning a dividend rate of 5.75%, wouldn't that option A, give me the most money because I begin to earn interest on my entire bucket of cash immediately? The answer is no. And here's why. One, because it's a gross rate. You won't actually see your policy grow by that percentage. The dividend rate and the guaranteed rate, for that matter, is the rate applied to your policy after the insurance expenses. The expenses are down here. We've got the insurance premium. We've got the term rider. And on these two items, if you are not paying it, it's still due. So for example, I may have a policy where I may go with option A. I make a one-time payment. Year 2 comes around. I say, I'm done. I'm not making any more payments to this, but there's still a premium due. So now it's a situation where the policy is producing earnings, dividends, and interest, but there are also expenses associated with the policy. And really, when I'm looking at this product, what we're looking at is what are the earnings compared to what are the expenses. It's pretty simple. If the earnings exceed the expenses, my cash value will go up. If my expenses exceed the earnings, what will happen? My cash value will go down. I want to make sure that I'm always going up. And again, going back to that stress test, look at both the non-guaranteed and guaranteed values. The last term here is very beneficial to be aware of, this reduced paid up. The short version of that is RPU. That is an option that allows us to eliminate the premium altogether. The earliest we can do that, however, is policy year 8. If we do it earlier than that, we'll often trigger a modified endowment contract, which will trigger a taxable event. A lot of information there. Let's take a look at some illustrations and numbers, because that'll really speak to us and allow us to visually see which option is the best one. Which one do you think is the best one? Which one would you pick if your goal is to maximize cash value? Let's see which one's the best. So what we'll begin with is an illustration. So we can see it from the insurance company. And if you're looking at an illustration from a carrier, it may look similar to this. All companies have different illustration formats. But here we go. This is the one pay, meaning this individual makes a one-time payment of $1 million. Up here is his underlying premium. Then you'll see here, paid up additions rider. There we go. You'll also see here the cost of a term insurance rider. The actual amount of term insurance is right here. The purpose of adding a term insurance rider is that it is a cost-effective way to increase your death benefit, to raise that death benefit, which increases your MEC limit. So term rider, think of it this way, cheap way to add more life insurance to the policy, which raises your MEC limit, which allows you to keep this premium low and get more money into PUAs. Premium does not show up in cash value in the first year. That's going to take the biggest bite out of your cash value, so it's going to hinder the performance the most. So the more I can reduce the premium, the more I will have in cash value. That's really the name of the game. And quick side note, if you're discussing this with agents, some will be very open with you about this, some will not be. The reason why is when you look at how we, agents, are compensated, it's primarily based on the base premium. We've got other videos that provide full transparency on that. But this is the one-pay scenario. As we look at the breakdown of this, we've got the $1 million payment. Year 2, what's your out-of-pocket? 0. How about year 3, 4, so on and so on, where you see net premium or net after-tax outlay, that represents your out-of-pocket, or the 66-year-old individual's out-of-pocket in this case. So it's 0. However, look to the left. What do you see here? This base premium, which is this number, that's still due. So years 2 through 7, the premium's still due. What we don't see with respect to a cost, not in a dollar amount at least, is this guy, which is our term insurance rider. That's still attached to the policy, and guess what? There's a cost for that too. So the expenses on the policy are the base premium and the cost of the term insurance rider, and we're assuming that we are not paying it in this particular case. So it's due, but you're not paying it. A question that comes up sometimes here is, well, can I pay it? The answer is yes, you can pay it, but in this specific example, we're pretending you're this individual, and you said, here's the dollar amount I want to add. You told me a one-time lump sum doesn't make sense. Show me why real quick, because that just doesn't make sense to me. Well, here's why. Without getting into the details, what happens to your cash value? It goes down. Wait until you see the guaranteed values. Your reaction is going to be, ugh. It's probably, right here. You paid in $1 million, and by year 7, you've got less than $800,000. Now, eventually, it begins to recover once we eliminate the premium with that reduced paid up option, but still, I wouldn't do this, nor would I recommend it for anyone else. But that's a breakdown as to where the money is going and such. Now, with that said, here's the next option, the 2-pay. And I won't go through every line here. I'll just highlight some of the main points. Here's your out-of-pocket. So the same $1 million goes in, but over 2 years. You're now covering 2 years of premium. That's 1 less year that the policy has to pay the premium on its own. Do you remember what the death benefit was on the 1-pay example? $10.3 million. Cut that death benefit in half, and what is it? $5.15 million. It's exactly half. The reason why is because your MEC limit is now exactly half, $500,000. How much better does that cash value look? Significantly better. Here's another question. Does the value ever go down? Specifically beginning year 3, you're not paying anything in here. What's happening to the value? It's going up. Still not that attractive in my opinion, but you're not going backwards like what we saw with the last example. The death benefit is half the amount. The term insurance is half the amount. The premium is less. I'm covering the premium for 2 years instead of just 1 year. So I've got less drag on the policy that's going to slow me down. And then we can look at an example of the 5-pay. What do you notice? Look at that premium, even lower. Total of $200,000 for 5 years. Term rider is significantly less. Death benefit, 2.1. So we can go back and forth, or we can pull up all of the illustrations to look at everything side by side. But let's do this. This will make it a bit easier. If I'm you, I would like to see the options just laid out side by side. And I can do that with the illustrations, or I can just do this. So as we look at this, what I will direct your attention to is what is highlighted in this yellow color. So we've got the $1 million lump sum. Year 1, you've got $895,000. What's highlighted in yellow is going to represent which option has the most cash value. This way you don't have to put a lot of strain on your eyes to see which one is the strongest. So comparing a one-time lump sum payment to two $500,000 payments, we see the $500K per year for 2 years is stronger than the one pay. If we break it up over 4 payments, $250 for 4 years, who's the winner? Let's look at age 85. Is there a difference there or what? Yeah, there's a significant difference. Now let's look at the 5 pay. There we go. So we see more money not from start to finish. Once I get the $1 million in by year 5, I've got the most money with the 5 pay option. Now, one thing I'll add here too is there's not a huge difference between these two options. You will notice something though when we look at the guarantees with the side-by-side comparison that'll be beneficial to point out that if I'm looking at these two, it would be a tough choice, but I might find myself leaning toward this option unless I said, hey, after I get the $1 million in the 4 pay, there's a chance I might add something after the fact. Maybe it's just a premium, or I think that I might keep on paying and I really want to get the money in faster. But if it was just the $1 million, I'm conservative by nature. I might gravitate toward the 5 pay. All right. I'm conservative by nature with some things. Sometimes I like to have fun and lean into it from a business strategy when growing the business. Let's look at some details here. This is going to answer the question why, specifically, why does funding a policy with a lump sum over a 4 or 5 year period make more sense if my goal is to maximize cash value? Because that was the ultimate goal here. Taking a one-time lump sum, what's the best way to maximize cash value? And here, show me the details. So here you've got the one-time lump sum. This is from the illustration. Here's your base premium. Here's what was not on the illustration, not on the page we looked at least. We've got the policy expenses, the base premium, and the term cost. Your out-of-pocket is 0 beginning year 2. Now, year 8, these guys are gone. That's because we exercised that reduced paid-up option, which we do forfeit the ability to add more money into the product when we do that, but it does kill the premium. It also drops our death benefit significantly, but then you'll notice your cash value begins to climb up. So if you look at this, year 1, you've got $895. Year 2, you do see a little bit of a gain here, where the policy is able to cover the premium, term rider cost, and I see a gain of about $13,000. That's how much it grew by that year. A little bit more, actually. But then the next year, what happens? It drops by about $4,500. And then it begins to drop faster. What's going on here is that these expenses are exceeding the earnings on the life insurance policy based on the present non-guaranteed values. So this does not reflect the guaranteed values. We will look at that soon. Attractive? Not really. What's highlighted in yellow, the bottom, years 13 and 14, is when you get your money back. He's almost 80 years old. Totally not worth it. All right. Much more attractive option here. What do you notice? Base premium, term rider cost. There you go. First 2 years, you're covering it. So that $500K payment you're making covers the premium, term cost, everything else goes into PUAs. Looking good. What happens from this point forward? That's still due. See that term cost is gradually going up. It's because this is a 1-year term rider and the term is not decreasing here. But even with those costs still there, your value increases. Slows down at the end, but you're still going up. Break even between years 7 and 8. So it takes a while here, but how does that look compared to option A? Way better. So we've got option A, option B. All right, so let's skip to option D. We won't look at option C with the detailed breakdown because we've got a lot of examples here. So option D is the $1 million over 5 years. Funding, $200,000 per year. Year one, where's the money going? This will match the illustration. We've got the base premium, then the cost of the term insurance rider. Everything else dumped into PUAs. There's your cash value in year one. You've got your death benefit at $2.1 million. Term riders at $1.5. What do you notice about this example where you are funding the policy for 5 years? What happens with the term insurance rider in the 5-pay scenario that does not happen in the 1 and the 2-pay scenario? What happens in the 1 and the 2, particularly when you're not funding it anymore? Year to year, it increases. How a 1-year term rider works is it's making sure the original death benefit stays the same. How about over here? The 2 years you pay it, the term goes down. How about year 3? You don't pay it, the term comes up. On the far right, when you're paying it for the first 5 years, it's coming down. The reason why is because when you dump money into a policy, the whole life death benefit goes up, and with this term rider, a 1-year term rider, the 1-year term comes down proportionately, keeping you level at the same death benefit the whole time. But when we're not funding it anymore, what happens with the term? Doesn't do much, stays about the same. Now, if this guy was 10 years younger, that would actually go down. But in this case, we're not running into a case where it's increasing on us again. So it does go up a little bit in cost, but it's minimal compared to what the policy is producing in earnings. The main thing is, I see that cash value going up. So the policy is able to easily handle the expenses and produce strong cash value growth. That's what we're interested in when it comes to maximizing the cash value growth of a policy. Interesting stuff, isn't it? So that's a nice detailed breakdown. The first sheet we looked at just provides a nice quick side-by-side. Which one gives me the most money? This way I can pick the option that I'm most comfortable with. And then we mentioned we'll look at the guarantees. So let's wrap up with that. Here we go. So what do you notice about the guarantees? Similar story, isn't it? There's a danger with the one-time lump sum over here. Based on the guarantees, and this is pulled from the illustration, calls for more money in year 7. With a 2-pay, it doesn't call for more money, but what happens? Your values go down. How about the 4-pay? Specifically, years 4 through 7, where you know just from the detailed overview we've looked at in the illustrations, the premium's still due, the term rider is still attached, but you're not paying it. Year 8 is when you exercise that reduced paid up. So what happens here? Well, based on the guarantees, the expenses are slightly exceeding the guaranteed earnings on the policy. So you're going down in value. Here's why I was a fan of the 5-pay. Years 6 and 7, you don't pay, premiums still due. In an absolute worst case scenario, this is based on the guaranteed values, meaning it's the guaranteed rate. It also assumes that the insurance company is charging the maximum allowable rate for that term insurance rider. So the term rider cost is higher when we look at it based on the guarantees. But even with that said, look, my value still goes up. And then after I hit the reduced paid up option, once I hit that button, now it goes up even faster. And again, this is a worst case scenario. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. It's honestly one of the more popular things among individuals we work with. Not every time diving into the details like that. Some people like that, which I'll always talk to you about the details of a whole life insurance policy, or our team will too. But not everybody likes all of those details. But the main question is, what's going to give me the most money? Because what pops up often is, again, this should give me the most money just based on common sense and compound interest. If I throw more money into a compounding account, it should compound faster. If I get it in right away, not quite the same with a life insurance policy, because I've got those expenses that I need to balance as well. The only other thing to be aware of here is age. Here, the 5-pay was the most efficient option, which is option D. Option C was very close. If this individual was 55, well then it's going to be option C. It's going to be option C. A 3-pay would look quite attractive. If this guy was 45, a 3-pay would be the most attractive, looking at the guaranteed and non-guaranteed values. Now, it's always beneficial to see 2 or 3 different variations. I just know that because I'm a nerd when it comes to life insurance, and we've done it a million times, and knowing how the guaranteed and non-guaranteed values, like that's what it's going to produce when you look at most companies and products, just how it works based on age and such. But it is beneficial to see a couple different options because it has to align with your goals too. This individual might see that the 5-pay maximizes his cash value, but then the counter argument could be, hey, I'm 66 right now. I want to get it in 3 to 4 years. You know what? Let's go with the 4-pay because I want to get it in faster. So I have access to capital. I'm comfortable with the numbers when I see them. I'm more interested in funding the policy faster. As long as he's aware of the different options, that's the key there. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let us know your thoughts and any comments below. Do let me know what option you would pick. I would love to see that if you'd like to leave a comment below. And as always, I hope this helps. Thank you so much. Hey guys, Steve here with IBC Global. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you're interested in a whole life insurance policy and you'd like to work with our company in setting it up, please visit our website, ibcglobalinc.com. We would love to work with you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, I hope this helps.